Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So for this tutorial, we'll be using this half scale bodice block to draft the crossover pattern. And also, if you haven't seen my video on how to draft a basic bodice block, I'll drop the link in this video description. So let's get started. And the first thing to do here is to take up half an inch on the armpit area, because it's a sleeveless and we do not want the underarm showing too much. So we connect to the armhole, and next we determine the neck depth. So we'll be going down by 6 inches. And draw the V-neck. By the way, this paper is on fold too. So the next thing to do is to take up 4 inches on the side. And then connect to the neck depth with our curvy or very curve. Next we cut it out. So we'll take in 1 inch on the shoulder. Now since it's a sleeveless, we don't want the shoulder falling off. And then connect to the armhole. So we cut that part out, and the front pattern is ready. So next we cut the back. We are also going to take in 1 inch on the shoulder, just like we did the front. And then connect to the armhole. So next we take up half an inch on the armpit area, just like we did the front bodice. So because that part was already cut, so I had to add pattern paper just to lift the armpit area. And then we cut out. And then next we determine the neck depth, but first we measure the shoulder on the front pattern, and this is 4 inches. We are going to insert the same 4 inches on the back pattern. So the neck depth for the back is 1.5. So form the neck curve and cut out. The back pattern is ready as well. Now we cut on our fabric. So I'll be adding ½ inch allowance on the front, the shoulder, and the armhole area. But the side, I'll be adding 1.5 around the bust, ½ inch for ease and 1 inch seam allowance, and then the waist 1 inch seam allowance. I'd already taken the dart allowance, and the dart is 3/4 inch on either side of the dart, mid dart line. So I added 1.5 dart allowance. I'm also going to take half an inch on the waist. This is to join the upper part and the lower part. So I'm going to extend the dart legs. This is to enable us hold the dart easily when we are sewing, and also to know where the dart is. And so we cut out. And this is how the front pattern is looking. So next we cut the back. So I've inserting 1 inch zip allowance. And then we draw a line. So on the waistline, the zipper allowance, I'll be taking in 3/4 inch. So this is done to eliminate zipper bulge. And then we connect to the upper part as seen. So we're still going to hold 1 inch even on the waist while we're sewing our zipper. And then we take allowances just like we did the front bodice. Now for the dart intake on the back, I took 1 inch. That is 1/2 inch on either side of the mid dart leg. And then I'd already taken the dart allowance. So here we're also going to extend the dart legs. So we are done cutting the back pattern, and this is how it's looking. So the next thing is to cut the lower part of this dress, and the lower part is gathers. So we're going to use the waist circumference. The waist circumference is 35 times 2 gives 70 inches, and that is going to be our first tier. And the length of this is 18 inches. The dress length is actually 56 inches. 56 minus 17 inches for the half length, we are left with 39 inches. So 39 minus 18, the first tier is 18 inches, and this is above the knee. So 18 inches plus 1/2 inch seam allowance to join the top, and then 1/2 inch seam allowance to join the second tier, making 19 inches. So altogether I'll be cutting 19 inches. So we cut out. Now the second tier, because this first one is 70, I'm going to multiply that by 2 to get the second tier, and that is 140 in width. And then the length is, of course, the remaining length of the dress, 21 inches plus 2 inches for seam allowance to connect the top or the first tier, and then 2 inches hem allowance. So this is all I have with the first and the second tier. And then the lining, I'm going to cut the lining from the waist to below the knee, and this is about 33 inches. So the width of the lining is also times 2 of the waist circumference. We can make it times 1.5. It totally depends on you. So this is the lining for the lower part. Next we cut the lining for the top. I'm going to add the same allowance that I did the first front bodies, but to the front here I'll not be adding allowance. This is so because I want the main fabric to overlap on the lining. So here's the lining for the front bodice. Next we cut the back. I'll just place the main fabric and then cut out. And we are done. Here is the front and its lining, the back and also its lining, and then the first and the second tier and the lining. So in our next video, we'll be stitching this dress together. Thanks for watching.